My name's Zoe. I'm a software engineer and former university professor, and today we're going to be building this fully responsive e-commerce portfolio website for you to show off your e-commerce projects using Next.js, React, TypeScript, and Material UI. This is a little sample of what the project is meant to look like. Let me zoom in a little bit. But I haven't built this yet, so we're going to actually build this together from scratch. So let's get started. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat below or in the comment section after. I do go back and look at all the comments and respond and check out the chat as we're going through the tutorial. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first thing that we need to do here is actually go ahead and start with our starter app. So I'm using a Material UI, Next.js, and TypeScript starter app that I've put together. So the first thing I'm going to do here is just clone this to my VS Code repository. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say git clone, and I'm going to call it, let's call it e-commerce portfolio. Awesome. And that went ahead and cloned. So we're good to go there. So now I'm just going to cd into e-commerce portfolio. And then we can npm. I believe it's npm run dev. Oh, no, and maybe npm start. No, let me check to see what the commands are. Oh. I should have actually installed it. All right, so let's go ahead and install it. Then npm run dev. I think, oh yeah, my machine has this fun little quirk. That works. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and get started. So if I pull it up here, localhost 3000, we'll see that we just have a blank page. Nothing to work with yet, but we're going to go ahead and fix that. So let's take a look at our design. So in our design here, and by the way, the link to this design is also in the description below. This is from a site called Frontend Mentor, and they have a bunch of free and paid designs that you can use in your next project and sort of to build out your portfolio. So you can go ahead and check that out there. So yeah, what it comes with is the color system, the desired typography, how the elements should act when they're being interacted with, and then we have the desktop view, the desktop active view, the tablet view, and the mobile view. So if we take a look, we see it's a fairly straightforward design. You know, there's a lot of black, a lot of white. You know, things are laid out within what seems to be a container on the side. If you notice, there's a little bit of padding on the left and the right here. So that is something to be considerate of, because how we're going to build this website, we're actually going to start with the mobile design first, and then we're going to build up the desktop design so that we build it better for responsivity. And the thing is, we want to be aware of the desktop design while we're building the mobile design so that we don't have to then go and refactor everything when we're building out the desktop design later. So looking at the mobile design, you can see it's very like singular column sort of situation. We have everything that sort of falls next to each other on the desktop design falls essentially straight down on the mobile design. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Let's start. I'm going to start building this in sections. So let's start building the top section here. And as I said, if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat below. I'm going to keep an eye on it and make sure if you guys have any questions that they get answered. All right, awesome. So let's go ahead and start that part. First things first, we are going to build out our first page. And really it's like a one-page site actually, so we don't necessarily need more than one page. What I'm really going to do is build out several smaller components and pop those into this singular page that we're using. All right, so first thing, I want to start with this like header navigation component there. So what I'll do I'll make another folder. I'm going to call it components. And then I'm going to make a file called nav.tsx. Cool. And then I'm just going to import the nav into this file here. Awesome. Cool. With React element. Oh, sorry, react.jsx. Oh, okay, cool. All right, awesome. So, let's see. So as I mentioned, in the desktop view, there's this like padding container situation that goes around the entire site, but it's like not behind this footer section. So we can kind of decide how to handle that. We can make like a universal container and then just apply it to all of our individual components. The larger sort of container components. We could maybe apply it to the page and have the footer live outside of it. There are a couple of different ways you could do this. I think, I want to apply the stylings for the page, probably on the home page itself. Like I'm talking about this like little curly line situation. I want to apply that on the home page itself. So I think what I can do is actually wrap the container around everything. So let's start with wrapping this page in a container by Material UI. Cool. Let's check out the container API. Let's check it out here. Container API. So there is a size, yeah. Max width. We can do small, medium, XL, etc. Okay. Let's say max width of, let's go with large for now. Let's save that. And then let's see how that looks. And the type is valid. Whoops. Let's refresh that. Oh, you know what? It might be. Do I need to use client in this? Because we're using the app router instead of the pages router, there are a few quirks. Yeah, they just wanted me to use client. Okay, that's fine. So then now I want the max width for this to be visible. And actually, let's see. Let me see if I can move this around to make things a little bit easier. All right, cool. I want the max width. Let's observe this, inspect it, and see what's going on here. Max width small. Okay, or we can just add the styles in ourselves. So I could say SX, because that is the way you address style props inline in Material UI. You can say SX, padding, top bottom is 0, but left right, top bottom is 0, left right is, let's say 3 rem. Let's save that. No? All right, it looks like our container is not being recognized. If I just do a div and get a style prompt, does it work? Okay, it does work. So it's something to do with the container. Interesting. All right, I'll leave that alone for now. I'll just change it into a box, and we'll use SX. Okay, style works. Okay, 0 and 3 quarters. There we go. Okay, cool. So now we have a little bit of padding on the side. And that's fine for now. I would rather do the responsive way they have it though, using the container API, just because it's going to perform a little bit better when we do, as we're doing our mobile device. Okay, cool. We'll leave that alone for now. All right, so then, yeah, let's focus on our nav. So the design for the nav, as I said, we're doing the mobile design first, but we want to keep the desktop design in mind. We have the name of the person whose portfolio it is, and then we have 3 icons: a GitHub, which one is that? Second icon, and that's LinkedIn. Frontend Mentor. Yeah, it's Frontend Mentor. Okay, LinkedIn and Twitter. All right, so let's go ahead and drop that into place. So for my nav, I'm just going to change it to a box. I'll import it from box so we don't get that error again, because of the use pages versus, or the app router, sorry, versus the pages router. And then I'm just going to add a typography element. Cool. Save that. And then within that, we'll put in Adam Keys as one word. We'll save that. And there we go. We have his name over there. So that's going to be our logo. And I think what I'm going to do later is probably wrap this in like a link, or maybe just an A tag, just so it like scrolls back to the top or something like that, because it is a singular page. I don't know. We'll think about that. So that's one section. Then we're going to use the box, and we're going to put all of our nav elements, all of these like social links that we want to be represented. We're going to put that in a second section. So what I'm going to do here, I'm actually going to go ahead and export all of these from the design. And that's another thing. I could also just export this from the design, but it's literally just text. So I'm going to just export this here. We're going to drop it into our e-commerce portfolio folder. I believe we want it in our public folder. So we're going to change the name just so it's a little bit easier. We're going to say github.png and save that. We're going to say, whoops, frontend mentor. Oops. Frontend mentor.png. We're going to say linkedin.png and twitter.png. Cool, we'll save those. Awesome, so now when we go back into our app here, you'll see we have a few new files in our public folder. I'm just going to rename this so it's the same case as everything else, just for consistency. Oops, LinkedIn. LinkedIn. Cool, awesome. And then I just want to go ahead and display these. So I believe Next.js prefers if you use the image tag from next/image. And then I believe we use the source, and the source will then be, let's try GitHub first because I believe that is the first one. GitHub.png. We'll save that. I'm just going to tell me it needs like a width and a height, an alt. Yeah, so alt will be GitHub logo. That needs a width, so we'll say 20. We'll say height is also 20. Cool. And there we have it, our little GitHub logo right there. Working good so far. And let's see, how do we feel about the style? They actually gave us, yeah, it's about 20 actually, funny. And is it any bigger up here? So 24 there. So we'll, as I said, we're going to build it for mobile first, and then we will reevaluate it for desktop. What I'm wondering here is if I should do an SCSS file on the side, or if I should just do inline styling. If you want to comment below what you feel, let me know. Alright, cool. So we're just going to take this one for now and just copy it. And there are 4 of them. So the second one is going to be front end mentor. I should change that, front end mentor. Yeah, the alt tag is just for accessibility purposes, and it's good to have a very accessible site so that everybody can use it equally. So we're going to change the second one to LinkedIn, and then the last one is going to be Twitter. All right, awesome. Cool, so now we have our 4 icons from left to right there, looking pretty okay so far, and now we want to go ahead and style this. So actually what I'm going to do, because we are styling a mobile view, I'm going to go ahead and drop this into the mobile look. Let's do the iPhone 12 Pro, seems to be a common phone, and that'll give us like a very, a more accurate view of what exactly the sort of styles that how they're going to display on the phone at the end of the day. This will give us a much more accurate representation of that. And as I said, if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat below. I am here monitoring it, and just to make sure I answer any of your guys' questions. Cool. Alright, can I do a video on how to store a file in S3 buckets using AWS Lambda functions and CRUD in DynamoDB? That's a very specific ask. I will see if we can fit that in. Alright, awesome. Cool. So next thing that we're going to do here, let's continue building this out. Alright, so there is a little bit of padding left and right. And you know what? It's probably just a flex box that has been centered. So let's set it up as so. So I'm going to change this outside box here. I'm going to say SX equals, oh, you know what? It was probably the double quotes. That's probably what it was. Was it? SX equals play flex. No, it should be double quotes. Display flex. Okay, so that's working. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I was trying to do it on a page. But anyhow, we're going to do display flex. And then we are going to do, let's see, flex direction column. And you know what? Let me look it up so we can all be on the same page about what's the best practice. So let's say responsive UI. Let's say material UI responsive design best way. Let's Google it. Let's look at this Medium post. Sometimes I look at the documentation, but sometimes they're trying to push you towards a certain answer, and that's not necessarily the answer you want. So let's see what this guy says here. Yeah, so in building responsive web app in CSS, media queries are being used in the movie media. Queries are exposed out of the box using theme.breakpoints. Breakpoints up, breakpoints down, breakpoints only. Okay, so that's sort of like doing some customization in the theme file. Okay, so we can apply this to our text, right? So if we look at the breakpoints that they have here, they have these like specific breakpoints that you can just say, like any breakpoints where it's lower than, say, the medium size, 900 pixels, the text will be of a certain size. When it's higher than that, the text will be of a different size. So we can use that for sort of more specific properties that we can target. But what I'm interested in is more so how we use it for the stylistic designs. So let's see what else I have here. Okay, interesting. Let's see what else this person says. Okay, it was sort of a more basic explanation of this. Okay, that kind of works. I think it's a little bit limited, though, in that sense, because then it just assumes that every time I want a flex box, I guess it could work. Because I guess I do want the flex box to be, the flex direction to be column. So let's copy this little snippet of code and use it in our project here. So we're going to go to the theme, and then how do this? Okay. Check. Where do we bring in the styles? We brought it in like that. Okay. Let's see. Theme, create theme. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay. Okay, let's try that. That looks like it might be what we're going for. So I'm going to import use theme in my component here. Const theme equals use theme from movie material styles. Then we say const matches equals, I prefer to type it out just so I get like a reminder of what I'm actually doing. I can sort of like check it to see if it's making sense. So we'll say matches use media query, and that imported from material UI. Oh, it's actually material UI session material. Oh, that doesn't matter. Okay. Theme.breakpoints. Gotcha. Theme.breakpoints. Okay, so then this is where we decide what is default and what is what is like fixed. So when you're doing responsive design, you want to decide this design or styling or implementation. You want to implement it for the phone first, the mobile device, and then the desktop is sort of like an add-on. So the default will then be the phone. So we're going to say anything higher than small, and that's how we're going to use it. All right, cool. Awesome. Let me just double check the breakpoints. Oops. And yeah, small. I think 600 pixels is good. Let's double check this. Yeah, it's 390. Refresh that. Cool. Good to go. All right, so matches use media query, theme breakpoints up small. And then I want to take a look at how it's actually used. So theme.breakpoints up small, matches is true. Okay. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and add in the style. So we'll say, I'm looking at this box right here. What I want to say is, let's come back to the top. Okay, so default, I'm wondering if I should do this with a style component rather than just the box. So if I go matches, and then I say, let's say flex direction column, so this is the default. So it should go to column. Then if I say matches, matches, let's say flex direction. Matches, let's see, flex direction. Well, no. What I'm trying to avoid doing is having it like matches, if yes, row, or row, if no, column. But that might be the most straightforward way to do it. Because then when I take this off, it's row. All right, we'll do it like that for now. And if anybody has a better suggestion, please leave it down in the comments below. All right, so let's do that. So we have that like that, and then we'll say align items, or align items center. Good. And that looks pretty good. All right, so we have that set. Let's add some padding to it. So the great thing about having the Pro plan with Frontend Mentor is that you actually get some the Figma files, so you can check out sort of the distance between things. You know, you can literally see the individual pixels, and you can just use that as a guide. So it's about 20 pixels between atom keys and the actual rest of what's going on there. So we'll say SX and say matches. And actually, you know, this is not defaulting how I want it to default. So let's say breakpoints down small, and then reverse this, because it's not, I want it to default to like if matches is true, I want it to do the mobile sound first. So let's say we'll say padding bottom. We'll say matches. If it's true, I want it to be 20 pixels, which is 1.25 rem. If not, I want it to be 0. With padding bottom or margin bottom, actually, margin bottom. Cool. I'll save that. And then when we come back, all these zeros to do our desktop, we can just change the number there. It's not the cleanest way, but it should work. So matches, margin bottom. Let's see if it's being applied. It's not being applied. Interesting. Oh no, there it is. Why is it being... layout.css. Oh, maybe I have an override file that is overriding everything. That might be why I was having trouble earlier. Let's see. Globals.css. Yes. I think this might be what's doing it. Let's move this. I think this is the issue. Let's move this to here. Let's see if that makes a huge difference. Awesome. All right, cool. That's why our container wasn't working earlier. This was overriding all of that. So if you do use this, please take that out. We're going to go, let's see if this changes now. Max width equals small. Turn this off. Awesome. It is actually working now. I think. So we can use that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool. We can check. Yeah, it's working now. Perfect. So we have our title. We have a little bit of padding below it, or margin, sorry. What else? Oh, this needs to be a certain size. 32 pixels. All right, let's take a look at our theme. H1 font size is 4 rem. 4 rem is 64 pixels. So we'll just change this to 32. I'll save that, and then we'll make it an H1. So typography variant equals H1. We'll save that. Cool. What did I change it to? Oops, 32 rem. Awkward. 30 pixels. 2 rem. Much better. Alright, cool. That looks a lot more normal. Awesome. And then for these now, we do have this like margin right sort of thing. Kind of, there's sort of, it's a bit like they're contained, and now that I actually look at it, there's like this gray thing behind them, but they're like contained within this section, and they are spread equally apart in that section. So let's see how big this is. This is 174 pixels. So maybe what I do with this box, I say max width, and I say matches. And if it's on a phone, I want it to be 174 pixels, whatever that is, in rem. If not, no max width. I should put that in quotes. Yeah, cool. So it does do that. Let's take a look at it. Let's inspect it a little further. Okay, the box is there. I think what I need to do is probably make this container a flexbox as well. Or do I need another box around the box? Display flex. Maybe align self. Center. Oh, forgot a comma. That doesn't work because the property outside of it is not a flex box. So if I make another box, and I say display flex, and I say align item center. Maybe it's justify content actually. Cool. Now it works. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Last thing what I want to do now is add in that little padding on top. So that's actually, oh, that's margin top as well. So maybe I can do margin matches. We'll do top, bottom is that, and otherwise it's that. Okay, cool. This is looking pretty good so far. So far, so good. Let's go ahead and add in the next piece. All right, so, oh, and you know what? Let's actually, one thing I'll do is I'll flip it between desktop and mobile, so that to make our lives a little bit easier. That way we do the nav and we're done with the nav, and then we do the next piece and we're done. Or would you rather me do it the whole thing in mobile and the whole thing in desktop? What do you think's easier? I'll give you a couple of seconds to comment below. Question, can you use side-by-side split screen for efficient switching? Am I also the one designing the websites? So I'm not the one designing the websites. The websites are designed by Front-End Mentor. So if you do want to check them out, they have some free designs you can use and also some premium designs. And yes, I will do split screen because, as you're correctly pointing out, I'm doing a mobile design, so I don't actually need the whole screen. So let's do side by side. Tile window to the left and tile window to the right. All right. If this is a problem for folks, do let me know so that I can change it up again. Cool. Hopefully you can see everything. All right. All right, cool. Next thing that we're doing here now, let's go ahead. And so in this case, because we've done tile left and right, I'm just going to go through and do the mobile design first, and then we'll come back and do the desktop design probably later in the video. Not probably, definitely later in the video. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on with our design then. So we've kind of wrapped with our nav. Our nav exists. Oh, sorry. One very crucial thing. We need some padding, and we actually need to wrap these image tags in some sort of link so that they actually go to GitHub and to all these places. So let's look at styled components. Using style components. Oh, it's not compatible. That's awkward. All right, cool. Well, I can just make a regular component on top and use it in the bottom, or use it in a different file. So we'll say components, let's do new file, nav link .tsx, and then cool, save that. We have our nav link, and then I'm just going to copy the bones of this. So we're going to have an image. Actually, I'll drop it inside. We're going to have an image that we import from next image. And then we will have, we're going to take in some props. So we're going to say source. We're going to say source. We're going to say, what else do we need? Link. Because I'm going to drop a link on the top. I'm going to say source is a string and link is also a string. Cool. I'm going to make this a box, or no, I'm actually going to make this a link from next link. And that requires href. Href equals link. I'm wondering if I should make it a link or just an a tag, but we'll start like this. And then we're going to pass in source here as a source. The last thing I want to do here, which is kind of the reason I made this whole thing, I want to pad it up on the right. So style equals margin right. Or do I want to do margin right? Let me back off of that, because if I make which box? This box. Flex box. This is the box that contains the images. So if I make it a flex box, and then I say justify content space between, because we put the max width, they should space between, but they're not. Why are they not? Let's inspect. Content space between. All right. Space around, space evenly. Okay, so that's working. That's so interesting. With oopsies, 174 pixels. I'm going to set the width to 174 pixels, not the max width. There we go. All right, so I needed a width property. So I'm just going to set the width on that. So width matches, and if so, it's going to be 174 pixels, which is the same as the other one before. If not, it's going to be fit. If not, let's see, how wide do we want this to be? 192? Let's call it 200 pixels. I'll save that. Cool. Awesome. So we have the style sorted, we have the link sorted. Now what we just need to do is iterate. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say const nav links, and I'm going to create an array of objects. I'm going to say the object source is going to be the name of the file, and then the object link is going to be whatever the website is, so www.github.com, right, for instance. So we'll do that. We'll copy that 4 times and put commas in between so we don't get errors. Awesome. And then what I'm going to do down here now, I'm going to get rid of all of this, just going to delete all of that, and I'm going to say, I'm going to say navlinks dot map. I'm going to say for each link, for each nav link, I want to display a nav link component. Oops, nav link component, and I'm going to say that the source is navlink dot source, and the link is the navlink dot link. And that, oh, and we also need a key, and the key is going to be navlink .source because that is guaranteed to be unique. And I should probably also return that so I don't get an error. All right, why is it still error? Okay, cool, that fixed it. Awesome. Yeah, and so they're all GitHubs right now because I changed them all to GitHub, so we're gonna just change it back. So it's GitHub, front end, mentor, www. I believe it's frontendmentor.com. And then you'd also want to customize this with like your actual profile, not just like have it be the generic site. So we have GitHub, we have Front End Mentor, it was LinkedIn, LinkedIn.com, I think. And Twitter, which is no longer Twitter.com, it's probably like X, but we're just gonna go with Twitter because that's the design we have right now. And so yeah, we'll save that. All right, cool, and that should work. I don't know why we're seeing 3 GitHubs. All right, cool. It was just a little bug, and that works. So that seems to be set. In fact, if I were to click on one of these, probably take me to the website. Oh, you know what? No, so I'm using the wrong thing. I shouldn't use link. I should use an A tag, because otherwise it's going to take me to like, it's trying to route it as if it's like a part of the website. So like, you know, whatever we end up hosting our domain as /linkedin.com, and that's not correct. We want it to actually just send it to linkedin.com. Why is that giving me trouble now? Is it supposed to be source? No, it's supposed to be href. A for anchor tag. Sometimes VS Code throws these little errors. A tag, website. It's super basic. A tree. All right, that should work. We can set target equals blank, but like, I think maybe what's going on is that it was built as a next tag, and now it's recognizing it as a next tag, and it's still trying to route it as like part of the site. So we're gonna leave it alone for now, and just keep moving on. All right, so we have that piece set up, and the reason I'm okay with leaving it is because you can see actually here it's like working properly to a degree. All right, so nav is pretty much set. Yeah, pretty content with how that's looking. Let's go ahead and grab this photo now and fill that in. Let me double check the chat, see if there are any questions. Don't want to leave you guys hanging. No, okay, no questions, cool, keep going. But if you do have questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat or in the comment section below. I do go back after the video has been published and see what if folks have any questions. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually export what's going on here. Okay, so there is like this like linear gradient situation that I think I just want to export as part of the image, like just this whole group, because I don't want to have to try and recreate that. So I'm going to export this as, let's say, profile picture mobile, because we're going to use a different image for desktop because this is smaller, it's going to take less time to render on a mobile device. And we've saved that now. You can see it in our public folder that it's there. And then we are going to close out the nav and create a new component. So we're going to call it, what should we call it? Let's say, let's call it the hero. So new file, hero.tsx. Cool. And we need to import it into our page. So we're going to have hero here. Hero. Awesome. So now our hero should be showing up on, oh, hero is not defined. Did I not import it? It would be useful to import it, I think. Import. Perfect. Okay, cool. hero is now defined. And it should be within our container. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I guess because the container is so small. That does make sense. Okay, so for our hero, the display will be flex, and it's going to be this. We're going to go into column. Oh, maybe column reverse, because as you see here, it's from left to right, which is row. But then from here, the image is on the right, but here the image is on top. So, or we could do row reverse, because as we're designing for or implementing for the mobile client first. So let's go ahead and change this into a box. And the reason I'm not making all of these client components, by the way, is because there's no interactivity. So client components take slower to load than server-side components. So if I can just make everything server-side and only make the interactive elements client-side, in fact, maybe I do need to make one of them interactive. But anyhow, I'm trying to prioritize making server-side components over client-side components. So that's the goal with this so far. All right, so we have the hero box, and we're going to use our image, and then we're going to make this like little section here. All right, so again, I'm going to call on next image, and then I'm going to say that my source is, what do we call them? Slash profile picture small, I believe, .png. And then it's going to need me to give an alt. Oops. Alt is going to be profile picture. And the width, I think we have established that it's 174 pixels. I don't know why I put that in brackets. And the height, we can actually get from the image itself, is 383. 383 pixels. And as I said, you don't need to be this specific with the sizing of things, but oh, it should be, oh, it's supposed to be in numbers. All right, sorry. Let's change to 174 and 383. Yeah, you don't have to be this precise, but this does require pixel value, so that's why we're doing it like that. All right, profile picture small. That's definitely not what I called it. Let's try and find what I actually called it. Profile picture mobile. Mobile, not small. Mobile. I just named it. All right, mobile. Cool. Awesome. There's Adam. Perfect. So we have our image, and then we need our text. So I'm going to create a box, not a box, and I'm going to drop in a few typography elements. So we're going to say typography. We're going to make it from typography so we don't get an error. Save that. And then I'm just going to copy this text here. So, nice to meet you. I'm Adam Keys. Cool. And then we'll drop in another typography element, and it's going to be this bit here. Cool. And then we're going to drop in a button. Some people would make this a link, which is not like accessibly correct, because if it's meant for you to click on, then it should be a button. You could like do a button wrapped in a link, or yeah, a link wrapped in a button. But if it's like a clickable thing, it should be a button. If it doesn't like redirect you to another page, you could make the argument that it depends on where we have it redirect. But I'm going to make it a button for now. We can change it later if we want to. So I'm going to say button, and it's going to say contact me. And I do enjoy the copying and pasting of at least the copy, because the copy doesn't matter. I don't like copying and pasting code, but the text, the copy, copying and pasting that ensures you don't make any spelling mistakes and you have this big error on your website. That's not, it's not going to render as like an error, right? There's no TypeScript check for, or maybe we could add a check for like bad grammar, but you know, there's like Grammarly's not going to say, hey, you spelled this wrong in VS Code. So I do like to copy and paste the text. All right, so I want to focus on first styling this image. because we do need it to be like underneath our nav bar here. So let's say display flex, because we have established that we're going to have to change it later down the road. We'll say flex direction is going to be, oh, and we're going to need to do our matches situation. And I'm wondering if I should just have, if I can have matches. No, I can't because it's a hook. I was going to say I could have it in like a separate file, but because because it's hook, it needs to be in, or no, it's not a hook, sorry. Or use theme as a hook. Yeah, it needs to be within a component. It is a hook. Yeah, I think I'm like 80% sure I'll get an error if I put it in a separate file. But if we have some time, I might refactor and do that. The goal is not necessarily the prettiest application. It's just to make it work and show you guys how to do this in a way that works. All right, so we've copied that over. Let's refresh. Oh, sorry. It's because I haven't finished this. So say matches. Matches, if yes, then we want it to be column. If not, we want it to be row reverse. Let's say reverse. Cool. Save that. Perfect. Awesome. Just needs another refresh. Module base. Okay, cool. There we go. Awesome. So that's working. Now we need to translate the whole box. Oh, also sorry, let's justify or align items to the center. And that's it. If you do have any questions about while I'm doing any of this, please drop them in the comments below. And here I'm going to say, I wonder if this will work for all of them. Text align center and save that. Awesome. Perfect. That works. And then I just want to basically take the whole thing and just push it up. So I'm going to say transform. We're going to say translate y, and I believe it's like minus whatever the number is. I think I have to drop that in quotes. I don't get that error because it's trying to call it. It's a CSS problem. Minus 5 pixels. Okay, cool. That's the correct direction. Let me see where this is. Okay, let's try minus 100 pixels. And really, now I'm just going for a look. Like I don't, it doesn't need to go quite all the way up. It just needs to sort of flow well. I'm kind of happy with that. I think that looks decent enough. So yeah, let's roll with that. Yeah, decent enough. The other thing now that I'm noticing is that I don't think the background's the right color. Because the way that this looks on the back looks different than the way it looks on the back here. So let's see. Let's see what we have here. So the black is actually a different black. I think it's this black, 1515. So let's see if we can change the background to 1515. Let's go into our CSS. And the reason I kind of hop around here is to make sure that we're covering everything. I don't want to get to the end of this and then completely skip something. And then have to go back and do it. So I will hop around and change up some of the colors. So let's see, how do background color? Hashtag 1515. Okay. Okay. I mean, that's not what I want, but it's also not what I want. Oh, you know, maybe I put on the container as well. Let's go to the page. Oops. Okay, cool. That's more like it. Awesome. So we've updated the background color. And yeah, that looks a lot more like our design. Over there. Yeah, oops. So, yeah, that looks a lot closer to our design. It's a lot less stark. The contrast is a lot less stark. All right, so that works. Let's see. The next thing we can do now is let's fix up this text here. So looking at the text height is 80 pixels. So I'm actually going to make this an H2. Let me open up, whoops. Let me open up theme, and we'll say H2s. I'm going to say font size is going to be 80 pixel, and font weight is 700. Alright, and then I'm going to say H3, font size is, or no, actually this is going to be, sorry, this is going to be body 1. Font size is going to be 16, weight is going to be 500. So I said body 1, font size is 1 rem, font weight is 500. And we're going to use a typography, as we've used already, sort of, to establish which ones these are. So we're going to say this variant is going to be the H2, and then this variant is going to be the body 1. I'll say that. All right, cool. So it's working, but it's a little bit big. Why is it so? Oh, I'm silly. I should have made that 40 pixels for the actual font. That's 2.5 rem. Why is this so big? Yeah, that's better. Okay, cool. So that works. And now let's add in our padding and our margins. So it's 40 pixels on the top, 24 on the bottom. Let's add the 40 to this. Style equals margin bottom 40 pixels. And then let's see what the margin is. The margin on, what I'm looking to see is if the margin is the same. So it's 24 and 24. So I'm going to say for the body 1, I'm going to say the margin on top and bottom is going to be 1.5. 1.5 rem. 1.5 rem? Yeah, 1.5 rem. Left and right will be 0. Cool. Looking pretty decent. The next thing we need to do, we have to do this underline. Okay, so let's see. Atom keys is underlined. So I believe what I can do is just wrap it in a U, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong. I could be very, very wrong. Oh no, it worked. Okay, great. And then I think I can do style. And I don't think it's color. Let's try it red. I don't think it's, yeah, it's going to change the text. How to change underline color CSS, text decoration, underline text decoration color. That's what it is. Text decoration color. Awesome. And then we're just going to make it this green. And I'm going to do one more thing with the style. So I'm going to make a colors folder. New file colors.ts. And that way we can just export all of our colors. I'm going to say green is that. Oops. Because it's a color we're going to use across the app. So I want to just have it in like a central location. And I should export it so we can access it. Export const colors. Awesome. And then, so then here, instead of saying red, I'm going to say colors, I'm just going to import .green. So that's going to be the correct color of green. Awesome. That looks pretty good. I think the last thing, how to add space between underline and text CSS. Yes, that is what I want to do. Text underline offset. Okay, let's try that. Oopsies. Text underline offset. One rem. Let's just make it dramatic, see if it works. One rem being dramatic. Alright, cool, it works. So then it's like right on it technically because of the script. And maybe when we change the script it'll be right on it. But I'm just gonna do 0.125 rem. Oh, maybe 0.25 rem. 0.5 rem. Okay, there we go. Cool. So that looks pretty decent. Let's do this now. Oh, you know what? The color of this needs to change. So let's copy that to clipboard and let's add it to our colors. Gray. Save that. And it seems like all of the body text is the same color. So I think I'm actually just going to make them all that color. So we'll say color, colors dot gray. Save that. That way it's easy. I don't have to go and like change every single one. They're just all changed one time. Okay, cool. So that looks pretty decent. I do want to add in the font at some point, but for now this is alright. And then we have our button, our contact me button. Don't want to have it as a link because where's it going to go? It's going to go to the bottom of the page, right? It's going to go down here where we have the contact form, and it's going to encourage them to send a message. So really this is a button for sure, but they're kind of the same. I don't know. If you have strong opinions, drop them in the chat. I think I'm going to make it its own component because we do reuse it. So let's start there. I think I'm going to call it button dot tsx. And whether or not it's actually a button, we can change that. So it's going to take in the text and the link, and text is going to be a string, and the link is going to be a string. If you're unfamiliar with TypeScript, all I'm doing is just typing the prompts that are coming in. And then we're going to change this to a button. Oops. Button. Import button. There we go. Push button. And then the text is going to be here. Oh, hilarious. I'm going to call it a movie button. Yeah, because I've already named the component button, so they can't both be named button. So we'll say text, and then maybe I'll wrap it in an A tag. I'll say href equals link. Like that. And then what I'm going to do, rather than have this be a movie button, I'm going to have it be a my button. Say button from button, and then we're going to say actually we don't need to do text, we can just say children, and it's like react element, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll change that to children. Cool. And then we'll add the link to be hashtag contact. So that's going to be the ID of the section where we have contact me in. Text and JSS. Elements. Let's say type of children React TSX. Okay. Oh, that's deprecated for a string. Great. Cool. So that's decent so far. And what else do we need to do? Oh yeah, I want the text color to be the white that we have in our design. Just double checking that it's actual white. Let's open up colors again so that we're being semantic. White. Even though this is literally, if you type in the word white, that's what it is. Colors.white. White. Save that. Cool. Contact me. And then I want to do the underline as well. So we're going to say, oops, say you, underline. I'm just going to say style. Oh, we're getting a little error. What's the error for? Oh, okay. We're going to say style equals text decoration color is going to be colors.green, and then text decoration or text underline offset is going to be like, it's going to be like 1 random. Like, it was pretty noticeable. Oh, and this is also, what is this? This is 700. We're also going to say font weight is going to be 700. We'll save that. Okay. Text underline. Decoration thickness. Let's say 4 pixels. There we go. All right. Looking pretty good. Contact me. And then what happens when oh, well, we're on mobile, so it doesn't matter what happens yet. When we're on desktop, we'll have to probably fix that up. But so far, so good. So we have our button, we have our hero, we have our nav, and all of that is looking pretty decent. Any questions in the chat? If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Let me see if you guys have a question. Why do I use CSS over Tailwind? It's not so much using CSS over Tailwind, because both ultimately compile to CSS. But I'm using actually Material UI, which is like a component library. So this button actually had like stylings before I actually started updating it and working on it. So basically, it allows you to get up and running really quickly without having to customize and style each individual component. With Tailwind in its like traditional use, I'd have to go ahead and like customize every single element and customize every single button, which is great if you're building a custom, super customizable app. And if I was doing a project by myself, maybe I would just do Tailwind. I do find it is like you have to learn the syntax. So if you're building with somebody else, you know, they have to know the syntax as well, like anything, but like they have to be familiar with it. And then also there's a lot more. You have to sort of start from the ground up to get going. It is quite quick, and it is, I don't mind using it. But yeah, that's why I'm using Material UI instead of Tailwind. All right, cool. Continue on. Yeah, but yeah, if you guys do have any questions, please let me know in the chat. I am here checking out what's going on down there. All right, cool. So we have our hero, we have our nav. So let's close that out and let's look back at our design and see what the next portion is. So then we have this break, and we have it in our mobile design twice, but only in our desktop once. I wonder if it's more like a border thing. We can make that decision as we go. But yeah, we have this little border situation here, and then we have our HTML information on the bottom here. All right, so what we're going to do for this section now, we are going to, this is fairly straightforward, we're just going to sort of plug and play these text elements. So I'm going to, what should we call it? Skills. We'll call this a skills section. So I'm going to create a new component. I'm going to call it skills, skills.tsx. And then we're going to create an action, or REFCE, and then maybe we should call it skills container. We're gonna rename it. We're gonna call it skills container, and I'm gonna rename this skills container. And then I'm gonna create another component. I'm gonna call it skill. Or is that really necessary? I don't think that's necessary. Sorry. Sorry, I'm making it more complicated than I need it to be. We're going to do skills. Skills. Save. Cool. Save. Alright, cool. Skills. I'm just going to make an individual skill little component on top. So in our skills container, we're going to start with a box as we always do. And we are also going to bring it onto our page so we can see it. Right here, skills. Save that. Awesome, there they are. And we are going to create an individual skill. So I'm going to say const skill is going to be, it's going to be a box with two typography elements. So the first typography element is going to be, is that the H2? I believe that's the H2. No, it's not. We're going to make an H3. All right. So first one, let's go back to the theme. I'm going to create an H3. And the size is going to be 32 pixels, 700 weight. So we'll change this to 32 pixels, change that, 700 weight, and we'll import this as, what should we call it? Skill. Skill, and the second one is experience. I'm going to say skill is going to be a string, and experience is also going to be a string. And the reason I'm doing it like this rather than just like copying and pasting and making a million skills is because I want to not repeat myself as much as possible, be as dry as possible. Do not repeat yourself with what we're doing here, because I think it will just bloat the code and make it hard to find errors. All right, so another final thing I want to do here, I'm going to make a data folder. There's a lot of like static information. .ts. And I'm just going to create these little JSONs with the data. So I'm going to say export const skills, skills equal, and I'm just going to make my array of objects here. So I'm going to say skill is HTML, experience is for years experience. I'm going to say that. And then I'm just going to copy and paste this a couple of times. So how many skills do you have? 6? 6 skills. And I forgot to add the commas again. But cool. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and accessibility are all 4 years. And React and Sass are also 3 years. React, Sass are 3 years. Cool. The other thing we can refactor is the actual the GitHub links. We can put these in here, but we're not do that right this second. So then, what I want to do is I want to import skills from data. And I say skills.map. For each skill, I want to go ahead and return the skill component, which we have right here. And I'm going to say the skill is the skill.skill, which is now skill is becoming a meaningless word. And the experience is going to be skill.experience. Yeah, so you can see how the naming can get confusing. But you saw how I did it before in the other file, so it should make sense. Skill cannot be used. Oh, it's facing a little error. Okay, what's the big error? Where did I put it? Is it here I put it? No. Okay. Let me look up the correct way of doing this syntax. Might be the React. Okay, we'll skip this. I'm just gonna make the file that I said I was gonna make. So I'll make new file skill.tsx. Actually, I don't need the R. Oh no, RFC. And then we're just gonna import skill. Oh, or was it complaining because of the box? But it shouldn't have been complaining because of the box. Okay. Awesome. And then we're just going to use these. So we're going to say skill is the first typography element, and typography element number 2 is going to be the experience. Cool. And we're just going to set the variance here. We're just going to variant equals h3 and variant equals body 1 and save that. And why is that at all? That's such a strange error. So it's the same format as the nav link, just different prompts. Okay. Maybe it's the name. Maybe I need to change the name. Import single skill. It might be. Nope, not the name. Oops. Let's try making an interface and see if that fixes things. Oops. Skill, string, experience, string. Oops. That's so strange. If anybody knows why it's creating this very annoying error, please let me know. I think it might be because I renamed the file a couple of times, so it's like confused. I'm guessing that's why. Okay, that works. Box. Okay, that works. I think it was just because I renamed the file and moved it around. So, anyhow, it's working now. And yeah, it's working all right. So let's go and add in our variants again. H3 variant equals variant equals body 1. So there's that. If folks have any questions in the chat, let me know. Oh, good point. You can create a custom component for a button and style it using Tailwind, then use props for any necessary stuff. Is this for a client or just random project? This is just a random project to show you guys how to build stuff like this. But yeah, that is a good point about Tailwind. You can use it in additional ways. All right, cool. So that seems to be working well. Then what I'm going to do with this container here, I'm going to say display flex, flex direction column. Save that. And then we're going to say justify. Or you know what? Well, no, I'm going to leave the flex, but if this was justing as a mobile site, I could have just done it. I could have just done like text align center, but we're going to leave it as so. align items center, because we do know that we're going to actually end up doing the desktop version as well. And I think actually probably still need to do text align center, center. Okay, awesome, pretty good there. Now let's add in our margin. So it's 40 on top, 40 on top, 24 below. It's 24 top and bottom. All right, so let's add 24 top and bottom, and then we'll add the extra missing 16 to the little like line that we're gonna add in. So we'll say this equals margin 1.5 rem and 0. Save that. That'll be our top and bottom, and awesome. Looks pretty similar. Let's make this little horizontal rule situation here. So I think, is it divider by material UI? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, and you can do something in the middle there. That's quite useful. We don't actually need to do that, so I think I might just use a horizontal rule. But that's cool that you can do that. Let's see. I think I can just add it to the skills section as well. So I'm gonna. Do I want it? Yeah, top and bottom. So I'm gonna add the HR here and the HR here. I'm gonna say style. I might actually just copy and paste it. Style equals width 100%. Let's see if that works. Cool. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, so we'll just copy and paste that this one time. Because, you know, once you start doing something this one time, you do it a million times. So, alright. And then, yeah, see, it doesn't make sense because I'm going to have to const divider. Unless it's going to give me an issue. Equals return. Oh, maybe it's because I didn't have return? HR style. Let's say margin top bottom 1 rem 0. And if I just replace these two with divider, save that. Cool. Looks pretty good. No errors. Love it. So yeah, we've done with our skills section. We are clocking through this. But yeah, if you do have any questions, please let me know in the comments and chat section below. Alright, so the next thing we're going to be working on here is our project section. So this is like the main part where you're like showcasing your e-commerce projects. You're telling them what, you know, different skills you've used on each project, so that when the recruiter or the hiring manager or whoever is looking at your portfolio website sees it, they know exactly what you're working on. They know exactly what technology you've worked with, what you're familiar with, what you're comfortable with. And I really love in this design how it has a contact me call to action here. So it's like, say, hey, like, you know, check out my stuff. If you like my stuff, here's an easy way to contact me. But it also has the image, like a little screenshot of whatever you're working on. And it has the languages that you're working with. We talked about a title. And then it has both the ability to view the project and to view the code. So if a recruiter is looking at it and they're unfamiliar with coding, generally speaking, they can view the project. However, if the hiring manager is looking at it and they're, you know, an engineer as well, they can view the code and view the project and see how you've implemented the code that you've written. So I think it's a really great way of building a portfolio to showcase your e-commerce projects, because, you know, you can have the person interact with the project as well as see how you built it. So I'm really a fan of this this section here. So what we need to do is get started building it. And then once we're done that, we have like one more section, 2 more sections, and then we're pretty much done. Actually, one more section, because this nav will just repurpose it from the top. So yeah, we're like almost done with this project in mobile, which is crazy. I mean, super, super quick. All right. so let's go. Let me double check the chats if you guys have any questions. If you do have any questions, please drop them in the chat below. If not, we will just keep pressing ahead with the next piece. So let's go ahead and make a projects file. So we'll say new file. We're going to say projects.tsx, and same thing, new. Yes, okay, cool. We have our projects file, and we need to add it to our page so it will actually show up. All right, one day I will just remember to do this automatically. Maybe by the final component, projects. All right, cool, save that. Awesome. So now we have projects down at the bottom there. So again, we're gonna use, let's see what size this is. 40, H2. We're gonna use an H2. So I'm gonna start by importing box, making a box here. Save that, and then we're gonna say typography, variant equals H2, and it's gonna say projects. That one I don't need to copy and paste, I can handle it. Projects, sick. And then you see that it's in line with a button here, so I'm gonna actually wrap these two in a box. Button, oops, box. And then I'm gonna import the button, our button. And I'm gonna say contact me, and then I'm gonna, what has to link? Yeah, link is gonna be hashtag contact. So it'll just scroll down to the bottom of the page. Maybe we can add some animation there so it looks nice. Okay, so we have projects, we have contact me, and then we're gonna set this to display flex so they display in line with one another. Awesome, and we'll say justify content space between. Perfect. I might also need to change that button font size. It's a little bit small, 16 pixels. Let's say font size 1. Does it change? Yeah, it got a little bit bigger, so that's good. All right, cool. So we have projects, we have contact me. Now we need to add in all of these images. So I'm just gonna go ahead and save these, export them as like portfolio image, portfolio image 1, 2, 3, etc. So we'll go ahead and do that. Export. Two. 3. I think there's 6. We're going on like a 6 pattern here. 4. 6 skills, 6, 5, 6 different projects. I guess it flows well when you do it on desktop as well. And that's 6. All right, cool. I already see myself creating another piece of data there. So we have our 6 projects, sorry. And then we're going to say, we're going to create another component, a new file, and call it project.tsx. And the same thing. Again, I should have named it like project container and whatever, but I did not. So each of these, let's make it, we're going to wrap it in a box, have the, ooh, what is this? H. This is a different H. We have to make a new H. All right. Wrap it in a box, make an H4, and then, oh, and this is a different body. These are 18. And then add in the skills. So we'll create our box here. That. And then we're going to start with image from next image. Good. And then we'll say, oh, I need to create the data. And yeah, it's going to be there. We're going to say const export const skills, export const projects equals an array of objects, and in this array of objects we're going to have the image, which is going to be slash, oops, why is it giving me an error? Image is going to be slash project portfolio image 1.png, etc., etc. We're going to have a title, which for the first one is design portfolio. And then we are going to have skills, the skills that were used, and it's going to be an array of whatever the skills that were used, HTML and CSS. And the reason I decided to do it as an array is because some have 2, I'm guessing some have 3, so we want to be able to just iterate over and display as many skills as are available without hard coding what we're doing, like for only 2 skills or for only 3 skills. So I'm just going to copy and paste this 6 times. I think that was 6. And we're going to just fill in the data really quickly. So design portfolio, e-learning landing page. Fortunately, they have the same skills. To do a web app, and now we're adding in JavaScript, which is great. You should definitely have projects with JavaScript in your portfolio. Very essential if you want to get a job as a front-end dev. JavaScript. Oh, and it's also putting in, well, that's alright. Entertainment web app. And now we always have JavaScript. Do we have it for the next? Yeah, other 3 have JavaScript. Entertainment web app. We have a memory game. Great to have games in your portfolio. Shows that you have like a wide variety of things that you can build. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then last one here will be art gallery showcase. Art gallery showcase. And 6 and save. Yeah, save. All right, cool. That looks right. And then, oh, we need these buttons. All right, we'll add that in after. So close this out. Image. So for each project, contact me. Okay, so that's that box. And then we loop through our project. So say projects dot map for each project. We then return the project. Alright, and then we're going to pass in the title, I believe, is project.title. The image is project.image, and the skills are from project.skills. And we're going to get some errors until we add in all of these fields. So we'll go ahead and take all of these things in. So we'll say image, skills, and title. We'll save that there. And we'll say image is of string, skills is an array, a string array of strings, and title is a string. We'll save that. And then for the image now, we need to say the source is going to be our image. The alt is going to be our title. And the width is going to be whatever it tells us it is. It says width 343, height 253. So width 343, height is 253. Save that. So that's a top one. Then we have a typography element, and we're going to use our, that's where we put our title, typography, and we go to title. We'll save that. And this is going to require an H4 because it is it 24 pixels? I think it's 24 pixels. And actually, while I'm in there, I'm going to create another body. because that's going to be 18 pixels. That's body 2. 1 point, I believe that's 125. Round. Yep. Okay. Good. Save that. Close that. So we have our variant of H4, and then we have our second thing here, which is going to be the skills. We're going to say skills.map for each skill. I want you to return typography element variant equals body 2, not 3, 2, and then put the skill inside and save that. And there we go. And oh, last thing with that, I need to wrap that in a box and change the display. Flex. And if you have any questions about what I'm doing here, please drop them down in the chat below so I can answer them. All right, cool. So that's like 75% of the way there. Let's go ahead and add in some padding, etc. All right, so let's see. Between projects, 40 on the top, and then between the title, it seems to be 40 as well. So let's add 40 as the margin, top and bottom for this. 40 pixels, which is actually 2.5 rem, and we'll say 0. All right, cool. So now there's some space. And then for this now, 20 on top, and only 7 on the bottom? Or is it a line height? Oh, it has a line height of 32 pixels. So I'll add that to the theme. That's the H4. So I'll say line height. What was it? 32 pixels? Yep. So change that to around. Cool. Line height of 32 pixels. Alright, added a little something. Let's see. I think it needs more actual margin. So let's do. It looks almost the same though. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Let's do margin 20 pixels. 0. Okay, that's a little bit too much. Top right, bottom left. Okay, top right, bottom, maybe 0.5. Whoops, 0.5 round. And that's the thing. Like, it'll give you what it thinks it should be, and then you kind of have to make it look how the designer wants it to look. And then we need to add a margin to the right of these. So we'll say margin right. What's the gap between these two? 18. So 1.1. Oops. 1.125. Cool. Awesome. Looking pretty decent. Let's add in. Oh, we need to add in our view project buttons and our view code buttons. And actually, I probably need to add another field to each of the. Yeah, I would need to add another field to each of the skills. So let's go to, or each of the projects, sorry. So let's create a button here using our button. We'll say view project, and then we'll say view code. And I also almost forgot, I need to text transform. Nope, not SX. Link equals. I'm just going to put a placeholder for the moment. Hash link equals hash. Almost forgot that with theme, this, I need to say the text transform So that'll make everything uppercase, all these titles uppercase. So that I don't have to worry about it. All right, cool. View project, view code, that looks good. They are not left aligned though. Oh, I need to maybe take away some of that extra padding on that element. So let's do that. Let's say, is it margin or is it padding? Let's inspect and find out. Padding. All right, so let's say padding 0. Cool, awesome. And then we'll say just the one. Margin right 30. Yeah. Margin right 30 pixels. Oh, it doesn't take an SX prop. Let's give it an optional SX prop. So you have to tell it. If you want to give it something like an SX prop, you need to tell it. It's like SX props. And then make it optional. I'll say .SX. So that way, if we want to add additional styles, we don't need to go and like change the whole style of every button. All right, that looks pretty good. And then last thing, let's see the spread between these two. Let's do margin bottom, margin right. Let's go margin, top, right. Bottom is going to be 20 pixels. 1.25 round. Cool, looks pretty good. All right, I'm pretty content with that. Looks pretty decent. Oh, you know what? We need more space on the top here. So let's see how much space. 80 pixels. So let's go back to the project's container. Let's say margin. Is it top and bottom? Do we have 80 pixels on the bottom as well? 80, yeah, margin top and bottom will be 80 pixels. Margin 80 pixels. All right, cool. Looking pretty good there. So that is that. Let's move on to the next element. And let me double check if you guys have any questions. All right, no other questions, but yeah, if you do have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat below. All right, next piece here. So we've done project, we've done projects, we've done skills, we've done skills. Let's move on to the final piece here, which is our contact form. And then we can reuse the nav for the bottom here. So, first things first, as you know, we're gonna make a new component, contact.tsx. See? And this time I'm going to remember to import it just right away. Just the first time. First try. This is me importing it into our page so we can actually see it. And there you go. Contact right at the bottom there. Awesome. So we have our contact. Let's see what's going on here. So it is, what is that, H2 with a body 1 and then this form that gets sent and we send a message. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and build that out. So we're going to import box from material UI. Going to head that, let's say box, and then we will do the typography element. So we'll say typography for material UI / material. And good. We're going to say contact. Leave variant equals H2. Cool. And then we'll have a second typography element. Variant equals body 1. And that's going to be this little call to action. Or not call to action, but like why you should contact me. You know, what's the purpose there? And also, one thing I didn't notice is that there's this line height. I'm not sure what the default line height for body 1 is, but the line height, oops, not line break, line height should be 26 pixels. Let me go ahead and set that and see if it gives me. Doesn't look too different, but that is what they asked for semantically. And then we're going to say text align is going to be center. And we want to center, right? Yeah, everything is centered here. Cool. So that's good. Next thing we need to do is add some padding and some spacing. So it looks like 60 from the top there. From this element to down here, 87 from the bottom. That's interesting. All right, so we'll add. Oh, and it has a different background color. Completely forgot about that. All right, so let's add in. Let's do a few things. Let's change the background color first. So let's go to colors. Let's go dark gray. Contact. Let's go background color. I don't know if this is actually gonna work because it's outside of. It's like within the container. Yeah, it's not gonna work. All right, cool. I'm gonna handle that after. Or maybe what I need to do actually is instead of putting it on the page, I put it outside the container. That might be the answer. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, that's the answer. Cool. Simple fix. So we put that there, and then we need the margin. So let's have margin. Oops. Margin top and bottom. Let's start with 60 pixels. Left, right, 0. And then, although we know it's going to have to be 87 for the bottom, but we might be able to add that to our button or something. And not margin. We want pad. Pad. Save that. Cool. Awesome. So far, so good. All right, so then now we want to add in these form elements. So let's go back to MUI and see what they offer as far as form group. Forms or text box. Text area. Let's Google it. MUI forms. Text field, that's what it is. That's what it is. Text field. Alright, so we'll just drop in a couple of text field elements and wrap it in a form control. So we're going to say form control from material UI, and that's just going to allow us to submit all this data once we finish what we're doing here. So I have form control, form group, but we'll start with form control. And then we're going to say a text field. Say text field. I don't know why I'm probably going to make this a use client component, but text field, we're going to do standard. Variant equals standard. If it still works. Yep, okay, cool. And then we'll say label. The first one was name. Name. Save that. Yeah, okay, awesome. Cool, cool, cool. And then it should have an ID of name. So that it knows what we know what we're submitting. Alright, so name, email, and message. I don't know why I've made it so it can accept children. Let's do that. Alright, so name, email, message. email, email, and message. I think I need a bigger thing for the message though. Multi-line, yeah. See the code for this? Is it multi-line? Okay, so we'll say multi-line. We'll say rows equals 4. Let's save that. Okay, cool. Awesome. Looks pretty good. Last thing I want to do, let's observe this. Inspect. Form control. I'll make the width 100%. Okay. Not 100%. Let's make the width like 90%. This is the width of the bounding form control box. Pretty good. And, oh, then we need a button that says send message. We'll say button, import our button from button. We'll say send message. And the link will be a hashtag for now, because we actually want it to do an on click, so we need to kind of modify that a little bit. But for now, that's okay. And then I'm going to say align self, flex, and, but no, it's, is it vertical? Or text align maybe. Text align, right. Justify self, flex, and let's try that. No. Alright, let me see. Oh, it's the href as well. Like there's an A tag wrapped around it. What is this? This is a flux box, right? I'm surprised. Justify self. Justify self. Right? That wouldn't work. Display inline flex. So what if I make it flex flex? Display flex. If I don't give any. Let's see, right? Alright, we're not gonna spend 10 minutes figuring this out. Let's leave it for now. Alright, cool. Save that. Alright, cool. Good enough. We'll add a little bit of margin. That's what we'll do. So we'll say 32. 32? What did I say? I said I needed 16 dolphin bombs. Let's try that. We'll say margin. Was it 16? 1 rem. Yeah, it's about 16. Okay, so that's not too bad. Let's go top. What did I say? 32, it's actually 2M, top 2M, right, one rem, bottom, and right, left. Cool, so that's done. And then I'm gonna add in that same divider. I probably should just make it its own component from projects. What was it? Yeah, projects. No, sorry, it was skills. Skills. I should have made this a component. New file, divider. So I did not even notice that there. Divider, oops, rename. .tsx. And then I just hope it doesn't give me a problem here. Turn that. And then we'll drop this divider where. Okay, looks a little different though. Oh, you know why? I don't have the container on this one. That's the difference. Duh. Alright, well, that's what I need to do. I need to drop the container on this. So let's wrap that around everything here. Save that. And then let's say max width is going to be small, I think. Oh, and then we need to put the background color here. Cool. It's weird that the divider still goes 100%. That's weird. I guess it's overriding it, but like max with small. I don't know. Anyhow, we'll add in an SX and we'll say max width 90%. Add that as a prop. We'll say SX. Style, margin, that's with line, so center, maybe margin auto. Top and bottom should be whatever it was before. Left and right should be auto. Okay, cool. Looks pretty decent. Except I think actually it needs a lot more margin than that. Top and bottom. Top. Where's that 80? Oh, because it's padding. Let's move the padding to this box. Good. And then I will add in the nav at the bottom here. Where are we getting there? Width 100%. Alright, maybe this wasn't the best idea. Maybe I can just copy and paste this and drop in a divider. Width 90%, not 900, 90. Margin 1 rem and auto. Rather than making a good. And actually, it looks like I can do 100%. Weird. So strange. If anybody knows why, let me know. Would love to learn. Oops. Okay, cool. So yeah, there we have it. Let's see what that one error is for. Oh, we're not using it. It doesn't exist. Awesome. So yeah, there we have it. We have the first iteration of this completely mobile. Let me check the comments, see if you guys have any questions. Are you the one who designs UI? No, I'm not the one who designs the UI. The UI is actually done by Frontend Mentor, which is this website here that if you want to check it out, I highly recommend. They have free projects and paid projects, and there are a lot of things that you can build to add to your portfolio to showcase your talents and showcase what you're working on. So no, definitely not me who's doing it, but definitely would recommend checking them out. All right, cool. So yeah, that's pretty much what I need to do in terms of styling, as far as styling goes for this project. I think the last couple of things we could do is just clean up the code a little bit and also give the contact form somewhere to go, because right now literally nothing happens when it works. So if we go and check out form control in React, we can see how we are expected to interact with it. So form control, input form number text. Let's see, we form control. Maybe forms. Maybe form, as I said, maybe form control isn't the right one. Button. Okay, so I think I need to make the type of the button submit. Or maybe it's automatic. It will automatically submit what I've added. Okay. Form group API. Let's see. Oops. A form group. That's the same page. Let's try this one. Oh, this is a different version of material. Okay. Using text field as input material. Okay, so text field defaults to input. I think the button should be taken as a submit button, so I think we might be good in that sense. What we would just want to do here with this button is add some sort of on-click method to it, so that when we click it, something happens. But right now we don't have anywhere to send our information. So that would be one thing. What else can we do? Oh, you know, I needed to move the skills. Were it skills? Not skills. What else did we map through? Oh, it was the nav links. Yeah, I just want to put this in the data folder. Import nav links from links. There we go, import it from data. Cool, so that way we have our data in one file, and then the display of that data is completely separate. Clean up a couple of these extra pieces here. Oh, you know what? I want to add the font. So let's say custom font. Let's do Louis adding custom fonts. To self-host fonts, we could do that. Don't necessarily want to self-host it. I just want to get like the Google font version of it. Let's see, how do we add this? Using Google Fonts CDN. Okay, so I just add it to the public index. This is like a regular project. Awesome. Go to public, we'll go to index. Not public. Oh, you know what, we're using the app router now. Maybe a little different. Layout? Yeah. Maybe I can add a head here. Let's see what the name of the font is. Let's grab it. Space grotesque bold. I wonder if it's available already. That would be nice. Let's see. Let's go to theme and we'll say font family space. Okay, let's look up space grotesque bold. Grotesque. Okay. Alright, cool. We're gonna say get font. We're gonna say get embed code, but we need more than just the 200 version. Go back. Space grotesque. Yeah, that's the right font. So. Okay, we get embed code. Copy. We want the full access. Copy, and then we will add that to our head. And we'll drop that there. Let's see if that works. Oh, it's not liking it. It's not liking it. The closing tag's right there. Just a little error. Why does it not like that so much? Oh, is it because the links don't have closing slashes? I think that's what it is. Okay, it seems okay with it. It's not using it, but it seems okay with it. That could be because of the error here. Let's check out the theme. We'll say font family space grotesque. There it is. Oh, space. Family. Well, I've added it. Doesn't seem to be using it though. Okay. We could also try downloading it. Oh, you know what? Maybe it needs to be font family. Oh, I did. Okay. Okay. Space grotesque, sans serif. Oh, it changed. Awesome. Cool. So we have our fonts working now. We are using the correct fonts, and it looks a little bit more like our design. Awesome. Perfect. Oh, and let's add in that little last piece of padding there at the bottom. 60. Contacts, nav. Let's see. Oh, padding bottom. Okay, perfect. And that's pretty much it. We have it completely finished in not too long, a couple hours time. As I said, there are always some little tweaks you can make. Like, I'm looking back at it now, I'm like, ooh, I could even move up this a little bit just to make it look a little bit better. The hero, you know, there are like a million tweaks you can make if you just keep going back and looking at it. And if this is your portfolio project, I highly recommend that you actually do those. You know, make those little tweaks, get your project to look that much better, because you want it to be the best. You want to put your best foot forward when you're going to apply for a job. But yeah, this is just a really quick example project of what it could look like. We've done the mobile version. Next, let's go ahead and do the desktop version. Hi, my name is Zoe. I'm a software engineer and former university professor, and today we're going to be finishing up the build on this portfolio e-commerce website. This is the perfect portfolio to showcase all of your e-commerce projects. Yesterday we started by building out the mobile design, and today we're going to follow up by building the desktop design. If you find any of these tutorials helpful or interesting, please hit that subscribe button, like the video, and if you really do want to learn how to code and do a career transition into becoming a front-end engineer, check out that first link in the description. You can sign up for our coding bootcamp where you can learn everything you need to know to become a front-end engineer. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So, this is the mobile version that we had built yesterday. As you can see, there are a bunch of different sections, the different projects that we've showcased in the portfolio, and here is the design that we were trying to emulate. So I think we're pretty much set on the design that we have here. There are a couple of little flourishes we could add, but I'm going to save that until we start with the desktop site. So let's go ahead and start working on the desktop version of this site. So as you can see here, we have this the hero section, the nav section, the skills section, project section, everything we have on the mobile site. It's not like it's one of those sites where you lose stuff or you add stuff when you switch between desktop and mobile. But now we're going to go ahead and just add in the desktop style. So let's go ahead and do that. So first things first, we are going to come out of this split screen mode because it's actually not going to work super well for what we're trying to do. So let's do that, and I'm going to close this. All right, awesome. So we've done pretty well because it's all just staying within the same container. But let's go ahead and make some modifications so that we're actually able to work with it. I'm just going to move this around to make things a bit easier. All right, perfect. So let's go ahead and start. Let's start with the nav and the container that holds everything and work our way down from there. So we have our main container here. We said that the max width should be small. I think what we probably want to do is actually make this large or medium. But what I'm going to do to make sure that we don't screw up our mobile site as we're doing this, I'm going to open up the mobile version. in a separate tab, just so we can keep tabs on what we're doing, so we don't screw up our mobile design. So looking here, I'm tempted to change this to large, so let's see what changing this to large does. All right, cool. That already is looking a little bit closer to our design. Pretty much spot on, to be honest. I think we have a good gap that matches what we're doing in our, what they're asking for in our design. And if you do want to check out the design, it is linked in the description below. And yeah, that hasn't affected our mobile design, so I think we can leave that as large and don't have to do any sort of responsive query. All right, so the page itself is done, so we can close that out. And I'm actually going to close a bunch of these out that we were working on yesterday and just open them as we need. Next, we're going to work on the nav. And so, as you can see, what we did here, we have the use theme, so we can query for the theme that's being sort of passed through to the app, just using that hook there. And then we use a media query to implement the theme for any breakpoints that are small or large. So, what we have here is the max width is 10.85 rem, 875 rem. If it's a small, if it's large, there is no max width, which is good. Let's see, what do we want to do here? We want this to be as wide as possible, I think. So, let's see, max width. Let's see what happens if I press 100%. Nothing there. All right, cool. Let's try flex direction, align items, center. Oh, you know what we probably need to do? I think we should just do justify content. Justify content matches, none, and then we'll do space between. I think that's the right one we can use here. So what I'm trying to do is just spread out these objects. It's not mobile. Yeah, spread out the nav here, this the header sort of icon logo, and then these social media icons. So let's go ahead and look at this a little more closely. All right, so we have display flex. Oh, justify content center, that's probably what's doing it. If I justify content space between, oh, because it's a singular div, it does that. But then, okay, if I come down here and I say justify content space between, maybe I need to set a width property on this. Let's try width 100%. There we go, that's what it is. So on this, I need to set the width to be 100%. And so I'm using this matches, again, because I want to make sure that everything is staying the same for my mobile, but then it matches, it like works well for the desktop as well. So the matches just checks to see if we're of the breakpoint that is less than 600 pixels, or if we're at a breakpoint that's greater than 600 pixels. Breakpoint being just the size of the window you're working with. All right, cool. So that looks a lot better. And again, I'm just going to keep flipping back and forth here just to make sure that we're not screwing up the design. As you can see, it does do a little bit of a content shift as it's loading, but once it loads, as long as it looks good, then we're happy with that. All right, cool. So that looks good. I think we probably need to add a little bit of padding or margin to the top here. So let's see, about 39 pixels. So let's say margin top. Again, and we're just going to be using this matches param. None, and then 39 pixels. I'm going to save that. Okay, cool. Good to go. Next thing that we need to do here, let's see. All right, so we need to modify these, this whole section here. So the image as well as the hero text, because it's a little bit small at the moment. So what we're going to do is we are going to, well, we're done with the header. We're done with the nav. Oh, no, sorry. One more thing that we should do. Let's take a double. Actually, I was thinking we might need to make these closer together, but I'm going to leave them for now, and we'll see how it looks with the other picture. I think this little picture is probably skewing my perception of it. So I'm going to close out the nav, and we're going to move on to the hero. So now in the hero, you see that we have our matches already set up. And what we are going to do now, let's see, we've already set it up so that it row reverses, so that's good. So the text is on the left, the image is on the right, so that's great. Yeah, let's set up the actual text size. So here, the size of the text is 88 pixels. And that is coming from this theme information. So I don't think we have anything here that is 88 pixels. So let's see. I think maybe we'll just add an SX prop, and we'll say font size, and we'll do the matches again. So matches, auto, else we want it to be 88 pixels. Let's save that. And again, just double checking we're not screwing anything up, but that looks pretty good. All right, awesome. What else do we need to fix? Oh yeah, the whole thing is translated up 125 pixels. So I think for this, we're gonna use matches for that as well. Matches, translate, or none. Because we don't want to translate it up at all. Great. And then the next thing we want to do is fix this text below. So this is 18 pixels. And I think what we can actually just do is change this to be body 2. So we'll just wrap that in curly braces and say body 1 or body 2, because our body 2 style is 18 pixels. Cool, and that just opened it up a little bit. Perfect. I think the other thing we want to do is add maybe a max width here. It looks like this is 709 pixels wide. That's this like typography section. So I think maybe we'll add to this box here that contains everything a max width. So we'll say max width matches none. We'll say 709 pixels. And again, you don't have to be so pixel perfect, but as we're just following the design, I'm going to try and make it as perfect as possible. And then same thing here, we're going to say matches text align center, but if not, we want it to be left, so that they all go over to the left. Okay, great. And then it looks like everything is being, yeah, align items is the center. Oh, you know what? I need to justify content. I think that's probably what I need to do. Justify content, matches none, or else we'll do space between. Great, and that gives us a little bit of space there. Awesome. Next thing I want to do is add some margin between this text and that. So it looks like there is 127 pixels of margin from the top of the typography elements to the bottom, to the bottom of the logo atom keys up here. So let's add that in there. Let's say margin top matches none, and then we'll say 129 pixels. If you guys do have any questions about this, please drop them in the chat or the comment section below. I'm happy to hop in and answer any questions that you might have. All right, cool. So that looks good there. Last thing I want to do here, it seems like the content is the same, yeah. I want to make this image bigger, and what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to export this image separately, because remember before we had exported like a mobile version. Let's do the desktop version now. So we'll export profile picture desktop, and we'll save that, and then we'll find, oh, here it is, and then we'll just do the same query. So we'll say if it matches and it's a mobile device, do mobile, else use this same string but with desktop, and save that. Okay, cool. Oh, and then we have to fix the width and the height. All right. You know what? Actually, I think because it's going to give me a little bit of trouble, I'm not going to do it just like that. I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to add in a second image prop, or a second image component, excuse me. So I'm saying matches, if it does matches, show this image. If not, show this image. And we're going to change that to desktop, because otherwise when I try and do the numbering here, it's going to give me a little bit of trouble, and then I have to do it in like a separate like variable or something. So just to make my life a little bit easier, I'm just going to do 2 images here. Either one is, you know, you can do whatever works best for you. So let's take a look. It's 445 by 720. So we'll say 445 by 720. We'll save that. Cool. All right, looking pretty good. The next thing that I want to do here, I want to translate this up still 125 pixels. So maybe I do leave that translate in, that translate up in. Let's take it out and see how that looks. Save that. Okay, that looks pretty good. I think we just need to change the Z index. So Z index, let's say -1. Or maybe it has to be an actual number. 0. Or what I could do is change the Z index with a nav. That might be easier. Let's say Z index of 5. Let's say that. Still not showing up on top. Let's take a look. Why is it not? Position static. Okay, so let's change the position. Is it fixed? Let's look up the different position types. Static is a default, relative, absolute, sticky. Let's try relative and see if that works. Otherwise, we're gonna have to do some style changes. There we go. That works. All right, cool. So we'll do position relative. This looks like it hasn't been messed with. Awesome. And yeah, let's just now go ahead and touch this up. So in the design, actually that's pretty spot on. So we'll leave those there. I think maybe we could add a little bit of padding to the right of, a little bit of margin to the right of that icon there, the Twitter icon. Other than that, let's see. Let's say margin, right, we'll do matches, oops, matches, maybe 1.5 for him. Cool, and just kind of push it off the edge a little bit. That looks pretty decent. Let's see what else we could touch up. Looking pretty good, to be honest. I'm pretty content with this. I think we can move on to the next bit down here. So, next piece we're gonna do here, let's take a look. So we have our divider and everything set up. I think what we just want to do is change the amount of space, possibly, between the image / the end of the hero section, and then just add a little bit less space there. But let me see how it's looking. So this is the skills section. Okay. Let me inspect and see how we're going here. All right, so we have that. Okay, so that looks okay. Maybe we go with this clean look. Let's see how this is matching up. Oh, you know what? We need to change that. Right. Oh, you know what it is? It's because we translated it up 125 pixels. So then we'd need to then translate everything else up 125 pixels, which would be kind of annoying. So let's leave it as is, for the sake of expediency with the tutorial. So for our skills now, we want to, let's first copy our matches logic here. Drop that into our file here, and we'll copy these two over here. We need them to work. Great. And so we have all of that imported now into our skills file. We can close out our hero and our nav and our theme. We don't need them at the moment. We might need our theme actually, but we'll see. And then what we want to do now is take our skills. Okay, just need a little refresh. We want to take our skills and display them 3 across, right? So it's 3 across and 2 rows. So let's go ahead and display flex direction column. So we're going to actually change this to matches, flex direction row. Let's save that. Okay, good. And then next thing we want to do is change the size of the skills because they're a little bit small right now. So this is actually using 48 pixel and this is using 18. All right, so we're going to have to open our theme again. And let's see, 48 pixels and 18. All right, so body 2 will be 18. So we're going to change this. We're going to actually borrow our matches here and drop that in here. Oops. Drop that in here. Okay, copy this. Drop that in there. Awesome. And then we're going to say matches body 1, else do body 2. Let's save that there. So then the next one now for the H3, the H3 in our code is 2rem, which is what, 32 pixels. We want it to actually be a little bit bigger than that. So we'll say sx equals font size, just like we did on the other header there. So matches, auto, else we're gonna do 48, 3rem. Cool. And awesome, they all got a little bit bigger. Perfect. Let me just double check that this is still looking good. Perfect. Yeah, nothing worse than when you're actually working on a project and then you screw up the mobile version or the other version you're working on and you don't notice for a while. So happy to see that that's still looking good. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is are these all center aligned? We're going to left align them within themselves. So let's change the text align to be left. So they're all left aligned. And then we're going to add a flex wrap. So flex wrap matches no wrap. Then we're going to wrap. Save that. Okay, good. I'm going to add a little bit of margin to these guys. So let's see. Seems like the margin on top, 72, 72, 58. So let's do 58 top and bottom. And maybe 100 to the right. All right, so let's add that to this larger, no, sorry, we'll add that to the individual scale. All right, so matches, do that, else we'll do 58 pixels top and bottom, and 100 pixels left and right. Or 100, we just want 100 pixels right. And then we'll add in margin right, which will be matches, say 0, but then it's going to be 100 pixels. We'll save that. not too bad. The last thing we're going to do there now is we are going to spread them out. So I want to say justify content matches auto else space, whoops, space between. And that should spread them out. There we go. Perfect. All right, not looking too bad. I'm not loving the fact that they're not aligned though. I'm wondering now if I should change it to be a grid. Post your thoughts in the comments, and I will do a quick check of the comments to make sure I haven't missed anything that you guys have said. All right. But yeah, if you do have any comments or you are interested in learning how to code, please leave a comment in the comment section below, or reach out to me directly using that first link in the description below. All right. Let's see. All right, got some questions. Hi, how did you become a web developer? Awesome question. Thanks for asking. I actually became a web developer just by teaching myself, going through a lot of tutorials, watching Harvard CS50, going through Codecademy and Free Code Camp, and speaking with other software engineers who were already in the field and doing the job. So for me, it took a lot of sort of trying to find the right answer to become a software engineer. Which was fine, and like it took me a little bit longer than it should have, I think. The way that I think you could learn how to be a software engineer is probably I think the better way to do it is like following a program or a boot camp, although they can be quite expensive. I think it does save you a lot of time in the long run. But when you do teach yourself, you kind of hit these points where you're not sure if you're doing the right thing or you're doing the wrong thing. So it becomes a little bit difficult to progress when you hit a wall. So definitely would recommend getting a mentor, or at least asking somebody who is a software engineer how if something's right or something's wrong when you're trying to work and become a software engineer. If that's something you're interested in having and paying for, there's a link in the first link in the top of the description will link you to the bootcamp that I offer that will give you some guidance. Second question, why are you not using Tailwind CSS? And thank you. Why are you not using Tailwind CSS? I'm not using Tailwind CSS just because I wanted to use the component system that MUI has. Nothing wrong with Tailwind CSS. I'm used to using the MUI system, so that's what I'm using in this project. But I have no problem with it. I can definitely do a project with Tailwind if that's what folks want to see. Cool. Yeah, if you do have any other questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat section below. All right, cool. So now that we have this here, I think what we want to do is actually not space between, but space evenly. No, not space between. I'm just really trying to avoid changing this to grid. Oh, I know what I could do. I could make them exact widths. I can make each of these have an exact width. So I'm going to say width matches auto, and then I'm going to say, how wide is this? This is 280. Let's say 280 pixels. Save that. Perfect. See, easiest way to avoid having to turn the whole thing into grid. And if you take a look, it actually kind of matches the little extra space they have at the end there. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's keep going. Next thing, okay, this is something that's different. So you see how this horizontal rule is here? It's on the mobile design, it's at the top and the bottom, but in the top and the bottom there, in the desktop design, it's only at the top. So let's go ahead and get rid of that, that little bar, that divider at the bottom there. So what I'm gonna just do, I'm gonna say if it matches, then show it. If not, then return null. Don't return anything. Cool, and that looks pretty good. Next step, we're gonna look at projects. All right, so projects is another one that's gonna need to be a lot bigger. We're gonna do the same sort of fix we did for, to make it bigger. So we're just gonna say Oh, I'm sorry, I need to copy over the matches information. So we'll copy that from our hero, drop that in there, copy these so we have them, drop those in there, save that. And then we're gonna say font size matches auto, else we want it to be 80 pixels, 5.5 rem. Cool, so now it's a lot bigger. Awesome. Next piece, I think we want this contact me to line up a little bit better with the projects. And so let's add that in. So this is display flex, just for content space between. I think we can do align items center for both, but let's do it and see how it looks. So this will bring this down a little bit. Perfect. And then this, yeah, it's still aligned with it. There's not a lot of room in this one, so I think that looks pretty decent. So we have the contact me button there, and then we have our projects. All right, so right now they're just going down in a singular row. We want to kind of do it like we just did the other one. Let's make them come down in 2 columns. So we're gonna go to, let's see, we have the projects.map, return the projects. Okay, we're not even using a flex box or anything right now. We're just using a regular little box. Nice. So let's say display flex, and then we're gonna say flex direction matches. It's gonna be column so that it maintains what it was doing before, but if not, we're gonna say row. All right, cool. And that, oh, you know what? Sorry, I put this on the wrong box. Cool. All right, cool. Awesome. Matches column, doesn't match row. All right, cool. And that still looks the same. Perfect. So we have typography. Oh, sorry, this is still on the wrong box. You know what I need to do? That's the issue. I need to wrap this in a box. And we'll do display flex. Okay, cool. That's what I'm looking for. And this one still looks the same. Perfect. All right, so now we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna hop into project, the individual project item, and we are going to make it match the design a little bit better. So, ooh, I think I exported the small version for all of them. So do I want to re-export all the large versions? I think I might have to. Or I could just save it over, because it's not so radically different. Like, I think I'm just going to save these over the images. So give me 1 second while I do that. So let's go ahead and save this as portfolio image 1. Save, replace, export, portfolio image 2, save, replace, portfolio image 3, save and replace. And just doing this for all of them so that we have the higher quality image to work with. 5. We don't have to do too many changes to our code. And again, depending on the difference in size of these images, you might actually want to use two different images. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I don't think the size of the image is that radically different. Okay, so now we're using the larger images. Awesome. For the project itself now, let's copy over our matches one more time, our match check. And then drop this in there as well. Cool. And we will do the same thing for our image here. So let's start with the image and make that a little bit bigger. So I'm going to say if it's matches, give us a small image. If not, give us a big image. And then let's see what it should be. 545 by 400. 545 by 400. Cool. And that should make them all a little bit bigger. Awesome. And then we are going to set this to wrap. So we'll say flex wrap matches no wrap, or we'll say wrap. We'll save that. And that should wrap. Perfect. Okay, perfect. So it's wrapping now. And then I want to say, what is it? Justify content. None. Also do a space between. Perfect. All right, awesome. For me, that looks pretty good. I don't think we need to do much more modifications on that. I think that's pretty much set. And then the last section now, we have our contact page. So now for our contact, or our contact form, I should say, we have this like little section in the back here. So let's go ahead and change that up a little bit. So let me open up the contact, copy over the match information we need. And copy this over here. All right. Cool. Oh yeah, let me just double check. I haven't completely screwed this up. Nope, still looking good. All right, cool. So now, yeah, for the contact page, we want contact to be over, contact and this text to be over on the left. We want this to be over on the right. So how do we have it right now? All right, so we have the typography there, but we don't have it in a box. So what I'm going to do is start by wrapping it in a box. So that this can be on one side, that can be on the other side. All right, cool. Did nothing. Perfect. That's what we wanted. And then the max width for this, we're going to change it to large, as we did with the other one. Oh no, sorry. What we want to do is actually change this maybe to XL. Yeah. So that shouldn't, yeah, that doesn't change that at all, but now it allows us to use the entire page, which is what we want to do because the background needs to take up the entire page. All right, so we have that. The next thing we need to do is turn this into a flex box. So we'll say display flex, and then flex direction matches is going to be column, else it's going to be row. We'll save that. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, cool. And then text align, we're going to say matches. It's going to be center, but otherwise it's going to be left. We'll save that. Awesome. And then I don't want this to get too wide, so we'll say, how wide is this? 445. We'll say width matches auto 445 pixels. We'll save that. And is that doing, oh sorry, that's the wrong box. I just want on the typography. Okay, good. And then for this, for the form, I want it, oh, it's also 445, cool. So I'll just use that for the form control. Perfect. And then I think what I want to do actually is drop another container around these. So I'm going to say container. Drop that there. And I'm going to say max width equals small. Small, and stick with that. That way I get that padding that's in line with everything. I'm sorry, not small. Max width is large. Yeah, so then we get the same amount of margin on the side for the rest, and it shouldn't have any effect on this. Awesome. And then, let's see, we have our container, we have our box. Let's say justify content, matches, none, we'll say space between. And awesome, now we have it left and right. Let's go about changing up the font size. So let's say font size is matches auto, else it's going to be 88 pixels, so that's the size of the headings. And then we're just going to do matches here. I'm assuming this is body 2. Properties, body 2. Matches, body 1, body 2. Can I say that? Cool, just a little bit bigger. Awesome, and that looks pretty decent. I think I'm pretty content with that. The only thing that we could possibly do is add in these like little swirly situations. So let's see. We can export one of these and try and add it. So yeah, that's a group, so we'll export it as a group, a PNG group. We'll say oval decoration. It seems to be the same one that we use throughout the site. So let's see if we can add that in. So the first one would be in our hero section up at the top. So let's add in an image. Let's say oval decoration, and the alt will be decorative image. All right, let's see if it gets added to our flow at all. Okay, there it is. Good. I'm gonna say position absolute. So it takes it out of the flow. Awesome. And then let's see what the width should be. Width is 530, height is 129. Height is 129. Great. Awesome. And what else do we need to do? I think we need to take the margin bottom off. We need to transform it. So let's say transform. Oh, sorry. You know what? This is actually going to have to go, because it goes into this. It's going to have to go on the page itself. So let's go back to the page and see if it'll let us add it there. Page. It's going to have to go outside of it. We'll import image from next image. No, I'll just import it manually. Cool, save that. Yes, that is incorrect. Okay, good. That is looking a lot more like the design. Awesome. All right, so for desktop, I think I just want to translate it down. How far is it from the top? 133. So we'll say transform. And I'm going to see if it'll allow me to do my match check here. It might give me some issues because I haven't made it a client component. And again, this is like, do we sacrifice performance for the design? You can make that call on your own, but we're going to do it here for this purpose. So matches, none, but if it doesn't match, we'll say translate y 120, or no, sorry, we'll get 133 pixels. Okay, cool. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty much like what we're going for. How does it look on the mobile view? That's the next thing that we should take into consideration. Mobile view, okay, it's still there. It's just different. Mobile view, let's see. Oops, I just want that. 124. So actually, we could probably get away with just doing this. Yeah, and then, sorry, for the mobile view, we'll move it over a little bit more. Or no, let's leave that. And we'll say form translate. X and Y. So we'll say translate. We want it to be, I don't know, let's say minus 200 pixels. Maybe more than that. Let's say 400 pixels. Yeah, so it's just barely, maybe 350. Just barely sticking out there. Good, and that looks pretty decent. It's like doing the layering already. Like I don't need to change the Z index, so that looks pretty good. Looks pretty good here. Let me double check the desktop one more time. I guess we could do a little bit over with the desktop. So let's say 100 pixels. Sorry, minus 100 pixels. Oh no, they're not full rings, so we can't use them for all of them. That's gonna be annoying. All right. So yeah, that one is done. So yeah, this was just one example of how you could add these rings throughout the site in order to make, add that little extra touch. You'd have to do a bit of absolute positioning with the objects and just place them wherever you think it's necessary, and then query for the mobile and the desktop views as well. So that was just a small example of how to do that ring there. We can move on and do the circle here. Let's say we're going to export this. They're calling it oval, but we're going to call it circle. Circle decoration. And we are going to drop this. We can actually do this within the hero. Maybe not. Let me look at the design. So it's over the left side there, but it's over the right side in this, and there's no gap that goes right up against the wall. So we're gonna have to put it in the page again. So we're gonna drop another image here. And so this is gonna be our whole like image section. We might even make another component that's just like absolutely placed images, but we'll leave that alone for now. So we'll say circle decoration, and it's gonna be, how big is this guy? 129 by 129 because it's a circle. Perfect. And then it's in the same position now because we've done that. So let's, if I take away this, where does it automatically place? Okay, so we want to bring it all the way over and then down. So let's do translate 350 and minus. That's not going to be exactly right, but it's going to give us a starting point. Or maybe it's plus. Sorry, plus. Okay. 350 did not do that much. Or sorry, oh, it's 100. That's why I didn't do that much. Let's go 500 pixels. Okay. 700 pixels. Okay. 800 pixels. Okay, pretty good. And then we are going to bring it down. We also need to update the Z index. So we'll say Z index is 5. Great. And I can see I actually need to move this back a little bit. So let's say 775. 725, just a touch, so it's more right in the middle. 780, oh, this is going to be a whole thing. 5. Maybe 87. All right, I'm happy with that. And then we'll translate it down, maybe 500 pixels. Yeah, and oh, and that actually pointed out a problem here, that the text is not exactly perfect. So let's fix that. So let's bring it up just ever so slightly. Let's say 475. Good. And then let's fix this up, this text section here in the hero. So in the hero here, this in the desktop should actually be a bit wider. 707, 706. Okay, that's good. Maybe I'll do it as max width, 30 view width, rather than a percentage. I'll make it part of the, like a percentage of the screen size, so that way it takes up more space. I wonder if I make it 90 view width, is it going to actually take up more space? Oh, no, it's not. Interesting. Wonder if I need to make it absolutely positioned. Let's see. Oh, you know what? This is for, no, this is, yeah, this is just for the text. Max width is 90 view width, so it should already have done something. Let's say width. Okay, so it's that I need to change. Let's change it to 50 width. Or maybe I need to change the position to be absolute. I don't want to screw this up too much, so let's leave this alone for the time being. Just go about adding our circles. Okay. So we added circle there. Let's fix up this where the circle is here on the mobile device. If you do really want to see me do that fix, just let me know in the comments. And then we'll drag this down a little bit. So on the, okay, so it's almost there, to be honest. So circle, we're just gonna maybe bring it down to 300 pixels. How far down is it? Not quite so far. 200, yeah. 200, and then we'll bring it back a little bit. Okay, so maybe 250 and 325. The pixels are much more precise because it's a mobile device and there's less space. Let's try 225. And 3, maybe 30. All right, that looks pretty good. Actually, I think maybe 325 was correct. So the circles are in place. And then on the mobile view, the only last one there is that oval at the bottom. on the desktop view, there's an oval at the top and an oval at the bottom. So the one on the bottom should be fairly easy to implement because it's literally just copying and pasting kind of thing. So I'm gonna grab this image, I'm gonna drop it in, and we can actually make this its own component if we want to. I'm gonna drop it into the context section. And it's gonna go in the outer container. Oh, and I need to import image from Next.js. Save that. I'm going on to the context section. Okay, cool. So it's actually outside. Let me put it on the top so it's more within the flow. Oops. Oops. Okay, boom. Good. So then drop that within the flow. Awesome, that's like almost exactly where we need it to be. Almost. We'll drop it down a little bit. So we'll say translate minus 300 pixels. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Let's say 200 pixels. 300 pixels. 250. Save that. Maybe 275. Just want it kind of more centered in that gap. 265. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, cool. And then I could drag it to the right a little bit more. So we'll say minus 150. Even a bit more, 175. And the way I'm doing this, I'm looking for references. So like how this lines up with the P in possible, that's what I'm trying to do here. So I'm just going to keep moving it until I get that result or something close enough to it. Let's be a bit more dramatic. Let's do 250. Yeah, and there we go. P in possible. So that looks good on desktop. Let's take a look at it on mobile. On mobile, it's meant to be here, interacting with the message. So let's change that up. So let's say let's try 265 as well. See how that works. Almost. Let's try 300. And then bring it a bit more down. Let's say 350. Yeah, that's better. And then bring it across a bit more. So it should line up with sort of like the center of the page here. 400. Actually, no, it's actually already lined up with the center of the page, so we'll save that. Cool. So that's good there. So we have the curly things. And then there's just one more that's only on the desktop. And that is going to be a bit more challenging to place, but we can try. So yeah, there's no last oval. Oh no, there is, sorry. It's on both. So let's save this image. Export. So oval, right, decoration. That's only going to be the right side. And then we're going to drop this here. Oops. Not there. We're going to drop this here. Oval, right, decoration. And we need to... Alright, cool. So we see that it's showing up where the other one is. We need to drop this down a lot. Oopsies. So we're going to translate it. Let's see. maybe 1000 pixels. Okay, and in the desktop viewer, it's right under Sass. I wonder if we could put it in, but it wouldn't respect the container. That would be the problem. It would have to respect the container. So let's say 50. Okay, closer, and then we're gonna drag it over. And again, this is not gonna 100% work on all screen sizes. It might, but I doubt it. And how much do we want out? We want just a little piece of it out. So let's do 1100. Cool. It should not touch Sass, but it should be pretty close. Let's do 1200. Might be too much. Let's do 150. Save that. And then we'll bring it back up to, let's do 1150 for both. And yeah, it looks pretty good. Again, these are decorative elements. You can be pixel perfect if you want, but it's not strictly necessary, as they're just added to just give it a little bit something else. All right, and let's do the mobile version now. So let's go back here, scroll up to Sass. Well, actually, it should still be up here. So let's drag it down to Sass. So I'm actually just gonna copy. No, that's not gonna be right. Let's do 1150. Okay. Let's do 1350. We want below Sass, so let's do 1450. Okay, and then translate it over 200. Pretty good, and yeah, that's pretty much spot on. Awesome. So we added in our like additional little cool sound. So yeah, that's pretty much what we need to do with the project. Let me see if you guys have any questions or comments or things you want to see in the chat. I don't have a Discord community. That was one of the questions in the chat. If I had a Discord community, I don't have a Discord community, but if you are interested in becoming part of a community, if you do sign up for the course in the description below, there is a community aspect to it where you can connect with all the other aspiring front-end engineers or completed front-end engineers who will answer your questions, talk about their process. It's a really fun space to be a part of. So yeah, if you do want to be part of a community, definitely do check out the first link in the description. It's called Davidson Programming Academy. And I can give you a little display here. So that's the website that you should see when you click on that first link. Basically, we just go through the things you need to learn to become a developer. We have the whole course sort of layout here. It teaches you everything you need to know to become a front-end developer. And we even do a portfolio review. We'll work on your resumes, your LinkedIn, your networking. We'll try and increase your reach. And we'll also go through mock interviews, mock interviews for you to be able to basically practice interviewing before you actually do your real interview, so that you don't get nervous and you know what to expect. Because tech interviews aren't necessarily like regular interviews. You do have that like normal interview part where you talk with somebody, but then you also do have that interview section where you are sort of tested on your technical prowess. So that's really important to understand and know how to do well. So yeah, that's why we have that section there. But great question. And then the other question was, I started web development a month ago. Can you give me some suggestions? I think, awesome. Congratulations on starting your journey. I think if you just follow the course curriculum we have here, even if you don't decide to enroll, we do just follow the sort of things that you do want to learn. You should learn Git, you should learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and just don't move on until you feel like you have a fairly good handle on each of the things, because when you learn HTML, the next step is learning CSS, but CSS only works with HTML. It works with JSX and other things, but that's sort of built on top of HTML in terms of the basics. Like, you need HTML in order for CSS to display or to work on anything. So I would definitely recommend becoming a bit of a master, or just very, very comfortable with every step before you take the next step, because once you take the next step, and if you're not comfortable with the first step, you're gonna have a really hard time understanding why why things aren't working, if they stop working, because, you know, things don't work all the time. That's part of coding. So it becomes that much more difficult if you don't, or if you don't really have a strong grasp on the first language. But great question. All right. Any other questions that you guys have? Checking the chat. Yeah. I definitely recommend learning JavaScript also before you learn any sort of frameworks like React, any sort of larger libraries that take you away from the basics, because you're going to need to understand JavaScript in order to work with React. Like, for instance, I'm not sure how much, like the maps that we did in this is JavaScript. This is not React. This kind of stuff. So it's very important, I think, to understand the language beneath what you're actually working on. This is all CSS. This is not necessary. This is JavaScript and CSS actually, but this is not necessarily just React. That's not React. React is the sort of component, the ability to make components in the way that we do using JSX or TSX in this case, TypeScript. So I definitely recommend starting with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and mastering those before you move to something like React or Vue or Angular or things like that. All right, cool. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, I will, hop off of this, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Again, if you do have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment down below.